Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the top 15 vehicles that need to make a return from previous GTA games. So to make this easy, I'm going to be doing a couple simple things here. Number one, we're going to be talking about 3 Grand Theft Auto games, 4 Vice City and San Andreas. Aside from 5, those are the most recent, they're the most popular, and the ones that you've likely played. Now, to also keep things simple and to make the math easy, we're going to do 5 vehicles from each game. 5 from Grand Theft Auto 4, 5 from Vice City, and 5 from San Andreas. And this should have been obvious, but all the vehicles we're going to be mentioning today have not been featured in Grand Theft Auto 5, or at least the versions we will be talking about won't. So let's jump into it today as we have a lot of cars to talk about, and let's start with Grand Theft Auto 4. So the first vehicle I'd like to see make a return from GTA 4 is the Turismo. Now, I can hear you guys typing away in those comments right now. Well, wait a minute, Mr. Boss. We already have the Turismo. In fact, we have multiple versions of the Turismo in Grand Theft Auto 5. But we don't have the Grand Theft Auto 4 version of the Turismo, which is heavily based off of the Ferrari 360 and the Ferrari F430. So this is a completely different design than the one we have in Grand Theft Auto 5, which is the Turismo R, and we obviously have the Turismo Classic, but we don't have this one that was featured in Grand Theft Auto 4. So this would be an amazing addition to the game. It was such a beautiful vehicle, and to see something like this added would be awesome. We know Rockstar love grotty vehicles, so this would be incredibly cool. The next vehicle on the list today is the PMP 600. So the reason I'd like to see this vehicle is because we don't have many shyster cars in the game. It's basically Grand Theft Auto's version of Chrysler. Now, this is based off of the Chrysler 300, and this is just a cool car. Whenever I got into this 4-door sedan, it was awesome. And I feel like Rockstar could update this with some amazing customization. So this would be incredibly cool. PMP 600 is pretty awesome, not gonna lie. And it was one of those really fun cars to drive in Grand Theft Auto 4. So that's why I would love to see it in GTA 5. All right, vehicle number 3 from Grand Theft Auto 4 is the Ferrucci. So the Ferrucci is a sedan by Bravado. Now, files and audio recordings of this vehicle are actually found in GTA 5, but this vehicle doesn't exist. Now, it's kind of based off of a couple vehicles, a late 90s Infiniti, an early 2000s Honda Accord, and a bunch of other vehicles as well. But it's pretty cool, and it's similar to the Kuruma. I wish Rockstar would have done something with this in Grand Theft Auto 5, but I feel like they could have made some awesome looking mods and upgrades to it. In Grand Theft Auto 4, there was a couple different versions of it. There was like an Airport Fly US version that was really cool. So it had like a livery on there, and Rockstar could do the exact same thing in GTA 5 as well if it could have been upgraded at Benny's. So that would have been pretty awesome. And of course, that is our third vehicle on the list today, the Ferrucci. Our fourth vehicle from Grand Theft Auto 4 is the Albany Presidente. So the Albany Presidente is a mid-size executive sports sedan in Grand Theft Auto 4 based off of the Cadillac CTS, which is a pretty interesting car to begin with. Now, the Presidente, the regular version is pretty cool, but there's also a police stinger variant that was featured in the Ballad of Gay Tony that looks incredibly awesome. So I would love it if we got both versions of it. If we could only get one version, that would be okay. But the Presidente is still pretty cool. Again, another epic 4-door car that I think would be awesome. I'm trying to stay clear from like all supercars and all sports cars on this list, but I think that would be awesome. Again, this would be such a cool vehicle to see, and if we got that Police Stinger Presidente variant, that would be even better. And the last vehicle from Grand Theft Auto 4 that we're going to be looking at today is a superbike, the NRG 900. This was like the ultimate superbike in Grand Theft Auto 4. It's by Shih Tzu. So this would be incredibly cool. We haven't gotten a ton of superbikes in the game. In fact, I think the last one that was added was the Hakuchu Drag and the Bikers update, which is well over a year old now. So I'm not saying I love bikes or I'm a total huge fan of bikes in general, but to get this, which was a classic vehicle that was featured in a ton of other GTA games, but prominently Grand Theft Auto 4, would be very, very cool. All right, let's move on to GTA San Andreas, and now we're going to be getting on to some of the more fun and cool vehicles on this list. The first one is the Anis Euros. Now, the Anis Euros was primarily designed after the Nissan 300ZX or Z32, which is awesome. So we don't really have a vehicle like this. In fact, we don't have many NIS vehicles in the game. And what was pretty cool is this vehicle got some awesome upgrades in GTA San Andreas, like nitrous and a whole bunch of other things like hydraulics and a bass boost stereo system. So we've actually done mod videos on what this would look like in Grand Theft Auto 5, but we don't really have a Nissan Z featured in the game. So this would be awesome as kind of like a tuner style vehicle. So that's the first one on our list today, the Euros. Our next vehicle on the list today is a two-door sports car, the ZR350. Now this is primarily based off of a early 90s to late 90s Mazda RX-7, but it also has some stylings of the Nissan Silvia and also the 240SX. So this is awesome too. This vehicle got a ton of amazing upgrades and modifications at the trans fender shop, like exhaust, nitro, roof, side skirts. It was really awesome. This is one of the fastest and best vehicles in GTA San Andreas, and to see a model like this, of course with its pop-up headlights that look beautiful, would be awesome. There were two versions of this car in the game that you could find, one with a rear spoiler and one without, but honestly, since we're in the modern era, you could just modify it the way you wanted to. But regardless, at the end of the day, this is a beautiful and unbelievably cool vehicle that I would love to see Rockstar add in Grand Theft Auto 5. The next vehicle on our list today is a two-door compact hatchback called the Flash. Now, this is primarily based off of the Honda Civic and the Nissan Pulsar GTI-R, and it's a pretty cool looking car, I'm not gonna lie. In San Andreas, it got these amazing liveries that could go on there that actually looked incredibly cool, and this thing had a ton of modifications: side skirts, spoilers, bumpers, front bumpers, exhaust. You could do so much to this car to ultimately modify it, and it looked absolutely amazing. Now, the reason I like this vehicle is it's a little unconventional. We don't have a ton of hatchbacks in the game, so I would love to see Rockstar maybe go out of their, I wouldn't say comfort zone, but get away from the sports cars and the supercars a little bit and give us a nice vehicle like this, a two-door hatchback that would be really awesome to have in the game. All right, our fourth vehicle from GTA San Andreas is an interesting one, and it is the Vortex. Now, you might think to yourself, Vortex, isn't that a bike we have in GTA 5? It is. But in San Andreas, the Vortex was a hovercraft that could go on land and water. It was so cool. It was this two-toned paint job little floating watercraft, hovercraft, and it was so awesome. Now, typically, I would have said this vehicle is way too far-fetched to see something like this in GTA 5, but after all the wacky weaponized vehicles and other vehicles we've seen, I don't think that this is out of the realm of things that would be too weird to see in GTA 5. So the hovercraft, the Vortex, would be so awesome. I would love to see what Rockstar would do in a modern version of that. And our final vehicle from GTA San Andreas is the GoKart. So it's a single-seater, low-profile GoKart, and this would be so cool. Imagine if Rockstar gave this thing like unbelievable, turning and handling, but it wasn't all that great top speed. I would love to just like zoom around the streets on this little thing. Now, hopefully they wouldn't give it like the same performance as like a mower, something that's just really, really slow. I would have loved it if it had a little bit of gas to it, but this would be awesome. It would be a totally unique vehicle that would be really wacky and that I would love to see Rockstar include in Grand Theft Auto Online. So those are all the vehicles from San Andreas. Now let's move on to Vice City. All right, the first vehicle that I'd love to see from Vice City is a gang variant of the Hermes called the Cuban Hermes. Now, the Cuban Hermes basically had this flame paint job on this vehicle, and it looked awesome. This hot rod was one of the coolest cars in the game. It's basically a late 1940s version of a Mercury or a Hudson Hornet. It just looks so cool. And the Cuban version of it, like I said, is even more bad to the bone. It has this like flame puffing exhaust that comes out of the back. It's just so awesome. So I love this vehicle. It was my favorite one in Vice City. When I saw it, I was like, I immediately want that vehicle. So the Cuban Hermes is amazing. On the Vice City website, it is Cuban Gangbangers car. That's literally what they call it. So again, be pretty awesome to see that in GTA 5. Probably the one I would want the most out of all of them is the Deluxe O, which is a fast 80s-like sports car that only appears in Vice City. Now, if might be pretty obvious, but the Deluxe O is based off of the DeLorean DMC-12. And you guys probably know that that vehicle was made pretty famous by a small little movie franchise called Back to the Future. So this vehicle is awesome. It's so cool. I love the doors. I love obviously the way the car looks itself. And it's just an amazing vehicle. It's a DeLorean. You've got to have that in GTA. And I would love to see that added in Grand Theft Auto 5. All right, vehicle number 3 from Vice City is the Sea Sparrow. So I thought we were going to see the Sea Sparrow in one of the more recent updates that were added into the game, but the Sea Sparrow is basically like the Dodo seaplane of helicopters. It's a helicopter that can land on water and can land, on the ground, which is awesome. So Rockstar's promised that we're going to be getting more weaponized vehicles later this year. So maybe this is a vehicle that does show up. And I really just love the look and the design of this vehicle. It gives off that like beach water vibe that I think is really cool. Now, that might have been just its connection to Vice City, but it was also featured in San Andreas too, so it could very easily well work in an area like San Andreas and Los Santos. All right, you guys are going to laugh at this one, but the next one is Mr. Whoopee. So the Mr. Whoopee was an ice cream van that has actually been featured in Vice City Stories, Grand Theft Auto 3, but in Vice City, you actually use it as a part of your like business adventures, which is actually pretty awesome. So literally at the end of the day, it's an ice cream truck, which is pretty cool. And I would love to see all the crazy things and stunts we could do in Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online with a big truck like this, especially if we could do some pretty awesome customization to it as well. Would it be wacky? Yes. Would it be ridiculous? Absolutely. But it would be really cool to have in the game because basically at the end of the day, it's just a modified Boxville van. And that's something I think Rockstar could easily do. All right, and the final vehicle we're going to be looking at today is the ramp truck. Now, I'm not exactly too sure how to describe the name of this, but it was literally a vehicle with a ramp on the back. It's basically a Packer, but instead of it having a normal back, it has like a ramp, and you could launch cars off of it, which is incredibly awesome. And for whatever reason, this sort of vehicle didn't make its way into Grand Theft Auto 5. It was in every other one, including Vice City, but it didn't get to Grand Theft Auto 5. And whenever you see those vehicles, you always have to hit a nice big jump off of them. And it's a shame that we've never gotten to experience that so far in GTA 5. But anyways, those are the top 15 vehicles that I would like to see make a return to Grand Theft Auto 5 from previous GTA games, GTA 4, Vice City, and San Andreas. Let me know what you think about my list in the comment section down below. What vehicles would you change? What vehicles would you add? I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you did go and enjoy the video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.